Pack, my name is Vahlkor and welcome to Dauntless. Now for this episode we're going to be talking about my thoughts on the chain blades, what do I think about them, how I like them, and things that I think are very interesting. But before we get into that, guys, make sure to check out the link in the description so you can go into Discord. I'm trying to get as many people in the Discord as possible. I want to have an active running Discord all the time, so if you guys haven't done that yet, make sure to check it out, join up, and let's just jump into it. Now the first thing I want to talk about the chain blades is, what are the chain blades? What do I feel about them? So far the chain blades are basically your burst damage dealers. They are very fast, but they are always used in opportunities. Like the way you can get most advantage of the chain blades is by exploiting the opportunities that the behemoth gives you, like whenever they're in the wind up time and whenever you have the actual like window of time that you can do burst damage, that's when you want to go in. And it serves as a very interesting weapon because it is fast, it allows you to be aggressive, but you have to be very careful and it's very easy to get carried away. Now as far as combos and abilities, the weapon itself, it's pretty simple. It's not really that difficult to master on the sense of actually like the combos and what to do in what moment, but you could see that you have a couple different combos at your disposal. The first one's being the Bladed Edge, which basically consists in 5 left clicks, and it's basically a combo that you can chain together over and over again, and it's the easiest combo that you can actually just deal damage and get out of situation very quick. It's not a combo that leaves you utterly exposed unless you're caught up in the middle of the action. And also you have if you've been seeing this weapon, you've been happy about this weapon, it's because most people are like, oh my god, they have range, you know, they have like a little chain that you can throw out and you can actually hit the behemoth at a farther distance than any other weapon. And I think that's very cool, it's very useful because it gives you sort of like a dynamic way of combating the enemy. Like you don't necessarily need to be right up front with the enemy. You could also be a little bit far away, be a little bit safer depending on the approach that you want to take against the monster. And that attack also uses the Aether element on your weapon, and that is made by the right clicks. You will be doing 3 right clicks to combo these hits together to do a total of 4 hits with Aether, and it might not be as fast and as powerful as the normal attacks, but they are actually pretty cool because it allows you to be more flexible in combat. Another one of the combos, personally one of the combos that I think it's pretty useful in certain situations, is the Swinging Blades, I think is what it's called. It's a combo that you do 2 left clicks, 1 right click, and then another left click, and that'll basically be doing the normal attacks, then it goes into a chain movement, it goes around your character, and then you finish up with a crisscross slash, whatever you call that one. And that combo is actually one of the only combo, actually the only combo that you can use your chain component of the blades without actually requiring any stamina. So that's another thing about this weapon. Every time you use your right click, you have to be mindful of how much stamina you have. And probably my favorite combo of the entire set is I believe it's called Blade Spin. I believe that's the name of the combo. It's basically you start your normal attacks with left click, left click, left click, and then by after the third left click, you're gonna do a right click. And this combo particular, you can charge up that right click, you can let it hold held down, and you're gonna be doing this little like combo like with the blades where it swings the blades around him, and it's basically does a ton of damage and it requires a lot of stamina. So it's one of the combos that is probably gonna be your actual main like damage dealer when there's a big opportunity, because you want to dish as much damage as possible, and since it is so fast and you're using your element, you're actually doing a lot of damage to the behemoth. And if you're in a bad situation where you actually need to finish it off early, you just hit a left click and it'll finish with that same crisscross slash where you're gonna be able to finish a combo and then dash out of there, or use your special, which we're gonna cover now. The special is actually not a move, like not an attack, it's actually a way of getting in and getting out of combat quick. Now it's very interesting because the blades itself have these combos, but the way to actually get the damage is with the actual combos and not with the special ability. As with the sword, which you saw in my previous video, the sword, you need to incorporate that Q so that you are able to do a lot of damage. In this one, you just incorporate the Q to either get in or get out of combat quick. And a pro tip is that when you're actually fighting the behemoth, you could do when you use a Q, you're basically going to, let's say you're far away, you're gonna go into the fight, into the behemoth, and it's gonna consume one of the stamina, like not stamina, like one of the weapon specific resource. Once you're in the fight, like if you're up close to the enemy and you need to get out, you hit Q again, and it'll basically do a backflip from the behemoth out, and that'll take you out of combat, again using one of those resources. But the pro tip is that if you're far away and you use your right click attack and then instantly you hit your Q once the actual blade hits with the monster, you don't get sucked into the battle. You'll like basically use your chain to pull yourself in, and it's not going to use any of the little resources that the weapon has, which is pretty cool. It's really like a secret if you think about it. When I don't know if it's intended to be that way, but I think it's very useful because that leaves you with 4 resources to only get out of combat. That said, doing this is not totally free, because once you actually hit the Q, once the blade connects, it's gonna suck some stamina in, so you're gonna have to be mindful of your stamina when you do this. Now, I also need to touch into skill ceiling. The skill ceiling for this weapon is what I would consider an advanced skill ceiling, and I'll get more into that in a bit. But basically, this weapon it's not hard to master in terms of the timing of the combos. It's not hard to master at all, but the actual bread and butter is speed and positioning. When you're using this weapon, you need to make sure you can get in and you can get out of combat safely, because once you start a combo, it's very easy to get carried away and overcommit and then actually get yourself into trouble, because you're doing combos so fast and you think, yo, I'm doing this much damage, I got time, and by the time you realize it, it's too late. Because another thing that changes with this weapon is that you don't have a dodge roll, you have a dash. Basically, that dash also has iframes, but what I find is that it's not as reliable to react to monster attacks, although it is better that you get out of the place where you're in and the actual situation before it happens. So let's say that you're in the head of a behemoth, you're attacking, and you notice he's gonna like slam forward or something. Instead of waiting to react like you would with a roll, you need to predict and you need to actually get out of the way so that the attack actually passes where you're not there anymore. Because I don't know if it's like a lag or a server issue, but it doesn't feel like whenever you dodge like with precision, it doesn't feel like you're actually invulnerable. I mean, I think there's been a couple times where I've been kind of like in a situation where I actually dash out and it looks like I thought I was gonna get hit and I didn't get hit. So yeah, there might be some iframes, but I don't think it's as reliable as a dodge roll because of the fact that yes, it is faster, yes, it consumes less stamina, but I don't think it's actually as reliable because of the time it takes to employ it. Like, it's very weird situation, and if you're used to like reacting to evading attacks with the dodge roll, you're gonna notice that it's not the same. You're gonna notice it right away. So that said, I still think that the skill cap is a very, very high skill cap, or skill ceiling I should say, just because of the fact that you actually need to be aware where you're at and be aware of what's going on in the fight in general. Now, that said, you need to be aggressive. You cannot be only waiting on opportunities all the time. Although it is good to exploit them and go ham whenever you can, you go do your flurry of attacks, you actually need to be aggressive with this weapon. And that brings us to like the playstyle. The playstyle is pretty much be aggressive, but use your positioning to your advantage. Don't let positioning get away. Or get out. Don't get out of position too much because you're gonna get punished essentially. Because if you're playing with another weapon, you can just react to attacks and dodge roll out of the way. As with this weapon, it's better to just go in, attack, and get out. And the reason you want to do that is, like I said, the timing of the dash doesn't feel right yet. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's a server issue, but it doesn't feel quite right. So it's one of those things that it takes some time to master. And like I said, it's probably the most difficult thing to master with this weapon is the actual positioning and dodge mechanic. And my overall thoughts is that this weapon actually feels unique. It feels very, very cool. I was expecting this weapon to be a little bit different than what it is when I first saw it in a trailer. And once I started using it, I always said I wanted to use chain blades all the time. And once I started using it, I realized, you know, chain blades are cool and all, and they feel very powerful. They feel very different than other weapons, but it doesn't quite feel like the weapon that I was expecting. I was expecting something along the lines of like the dual blades in other like Monster Hunters, for example, which they kind of do, but it's not really the same. And that's good. It's not that I don't like them. It's just since it's different, it doesn't really apply in most situations for me. Although I really love using this weapon fighting against monsters that charge a lot, like the Shrikes, Screeves, the what was the other one, the Moon Reaver, and also the Embermane. I was able to actually knock out Embermanes with the Chain Blades, which to me is so cool because having this weapon not only allows you to exploit weaknesses, but it allows you to create opportunity. Like, it allows you to actually knock down Shrikes like there's no tomorrow. So if you're ever going against a Shrike and you want to have an advantage, I suggest taking out this weapon because this weapon is very cool. You just gotta time it right, be a little bit away of the distance where the attack's gonna happen, and just use your right click and dash that, hit the Shrike, let him fall to the floor, and just go ham. Like, it's very, very cool. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and before we actually finish, I want to remind you guys, make sure to check out the description to go to Discord. I really want to have a lot of people in. I'm planning a lot of things with Discord, like challenges and stuff, and hopefully you guys are gonna enjoy that. But for now, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. It really does help me out, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, guys, I've been Vahlkor, and I'll see you next time.